This is the E6019 rod talk. The familiar B-14 by Kobelco. It's a stick electrode, obviously. We've got that right here. It's 5/32 in diameter, which is what is this? It's upside down, whatever. It's 4.0 by 450 millimeter rod, 5 kilograms of that. The coloring tip on that is like a peach sort of color. Right there. Not a lot of information on the box, but that's what I have this paper for. Let's see. Features. Suitable for butt and fillet welding of thin and medium thick plates up to 20 millimeters. Excellent usability. Welding consists of 2G, 4G, 2F, 1F, 1G, and 3G uphill. And the packaging data, I will show you that instead of trying to read all that off, because this is the second take and I will be more than happy to show you this. That's all the packaging data for the size of the rod, millimeter, its length, and all that other fun stuff. Instead of trying to read all that off, I'd rather get to the fun stuff. Composition of all metal masses, and I don't remember some of the elements of the periodic table abbreviations. Like, I don't remember what P is S tin? No. I see cobalt, silicon, magnesium, 2 I forget, nickel, chrome, molybdenum, and vanadium. So that is those right there. I'm just trying to get this for here. Welding parameters in amps. A 2 millimeter rod. 2.6 actually, and the 1G, 1F, 2G, and 2F, remember those positions, which I would say 1G through 2F, you just fill in the blank, runs at 55 to 90 amps, 3G and 4G is 45 to 75. 3.2 millimeter rod, and the 1G through 2F is 85 to 140 amps, and 3G to 4G is 60 to 120. 4 millimeter rod is 130 to 190 in the 1G sub 2F, and 3G to 4G is 100 to 160. 5 millimeter rod is 180 to 260 amps, and the 3G to 4G is 135 to 210. 6 millimeter rods, 240 to 310 amps in the 1G sub 2F, but there's no data available for the 3G and 4G category. All weld mechanical properties. I don't know a lot about megapascals and joules, so I'll just show that to you. I'm also going to leave a link to this Kobelco welding rod data sheet for all their welding rods they currently have in the description, as well as a place you can purchase these at. Another thing, approvals, ABS 3, LR 3M, DNV 3, BV 3, NK, KM double. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I was printing this out last night. I should probably know what that means, but hey, I'm still learning. So there's that for you. Now we can do the good stuff that the average layman can understand, and we don't need to have well, it would be nice to, having an education to know the stuff, or even if you're self-taught, that's nice. So I really should do that. But, keeping it basic, tips for better weld results with the B-14. The electrode performance depends greatly on how it is used. In order to get the better welding results, the following key points should be noted. Use the B-14 with welding currents within the proper ranges, because excessive welding currents may degrade X-ray soundness, increase spatter, and cause undercut and irregular bead appearance. My mouth is dry. Redry the B-14 at 70 to 100 Celsius for 30 to 60 minutes. If the electrode picked up excessive moisture, this is because excessive moisture and the coating may degrade electrode's usability and cause the occurrence of pits in the weld metal. Avoid excessive high temperatures and long time in redrying B-14, because the excessive redrying may damage the coating, causing less penetration, poor X-ray soundness, and electrode burn. Because the B-14 is a non-low hydrogen type electrode, medium to thick mild steel work should be preheated at an appropriate temperature and kept during welding at a proper interpass temperature. Let's see. Well, we've got a comparison sheet between absorbed impact energy in joules, showing how the B-14 is superior to the 6013. Typical mechanical properties of the B-14 weld metal tested in accordance with AWS A5.1, and a comparison between B-14 and 6013 covered electrodes on unit length and proper welding current ranges. So I will show you those, because the 6019, from what I've gathered from actually talking online to welding forum to a person who uses them, they're like glorified 6013, and they use just 3 different kinds of them. So get my hand back to that if you want to pause that to read that. I think that's focused. Right. But there's those. Or I suppose I could read them to you. Be a lot of numbers. Might be difficult to follow, but size in millimeters. The B-14 3.2 is 400 millimeters long. 4 is 450, and the 5 is 450. Proper welding, current in flat welding position. Amperage is 85 to 140 for the 3.2, 130 190 for the 4, and 180 to 260 for the 5. And converted CUNV E6013, this comparison. They're 350 millimeter long 6013. 3.2 millimeters is 60 to 125. 4 millimeter 6013 is 105 to 170. And 5 millimeter that is 400 millimeters long is 150 to 220. So the E6013 has lower running temperatures than the B-14. In Figure 2, chart the impact test results of the B-14 and unconventional E6013 weld metals. So you can see, looks like the 6019 B-14 has a better bead profile there and more penetration to the base metal than the E6013. Ooh, history. Now we get to learn about it. Familiar with B-14, AWS A5.1 E6019. B-14 is versatile. I think there's ilmenite. Is there something ilmenite? ILME. B-14 is versatile ilmenite type covered electrode for mild steel, offering unsurpassed usability and weldability in all positions but in fillet welding and welding sheet metal and medium thick up to 20 millimeter plates. Yes, ilmenite. Okay, interesting. A history of ilmenite type electrodes. Kobelco developed in 1942 an epoch-making ilmenite type covered electrode, B-17, which used ilmenite, there we have a definition, a composition of iron oxide and titanium dioxide as a raw material for the major part of the coating flux. After a period of years, Kobelco developed other ilmenite type covered electrodes, B10 and B14, so as to satisfy the requirements of a variety of users. The consumption of ilmenite type covered electrodes increased sharply, particularly in the shipbuilding industry. Figure 1, which shows somebody in the 1960s, 70s, what have you, using said rods to build ships, increased through the 1960s and 70s. The annual production of ilmenite type covered electrodes in Japan increased year by year up to 132,000 megatons, MT, in 1973. Comprising, or is that metric tons? Megatons explosives, right? Whatever. Comprising a major portion of the market for mild steel covered electrodes. However, starting in 1975, right after the first global oil crisis, ship construction began to dry up. After which, the consumption of covered electrodes, including the ilmenite type, rapidly decreased. Since then, this trend has been accelerated, with covered electrodes being superseded by gas metal arc welding wires in order to save welding costs. But the consumption ratio of ilmenite type covered electrodes was kept high until recent years. In 1995, the annual production of ilmenite type covered electrodes was approximately 17,000 metric tons, which was approximately 30% of all 56,000 metric tons of mild steel covered electrodes produced in Japan. Ilmenite type covered electrodes classified as D4301 in the JIS standard have been also classified as E6019, iron oxide, titanium, potassium type, in the AWS standard since 1991. This standardization per AWS is due to Kobelco's active work in the Japan Welding Engineering Society and the American Welding Society. Nowadays, ilmenite type covered electrodes are used for welding general steel structures, pipes, and ships in Japan and overseas. Among these ilmenite type covered electrodes, B-14 is one of the leading brands, which is produced by Kobelco and overseas subsidiary companies. TKW in Thailand, KWS in Singapore, and INT IWI in Indonesia. What characteristics highlight B-14? Compared with conventional E6013 electrodes, B-14 features the following characteristics. Suitable for welding heavy-duty structures due to superior X-ray soundness, higher ductility, higher notch toughness, figure 2. I believe we already showed you that one. Deeper penetration and consistent tensile properties. It is suitable for welding thicker steel plates with a thickness of up to about 20 millimeters due to superior hot crack resistance. And higher welding efficiency due to longer unit electrode length and higher proper currents. Now I'm just debating whether or not to... no, we'll put it in the same video.